Joining us right now is Republican Congressman Tony Gonzales. His district includes the city of Uvalde, Texas. Congressman, good morning. Let's jump right in. You've been in touch with officials there, and last night you said that there's still families waiting to be connected with their children. Are there still families waiting to be reunited?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me. You know, it was such a horrific scene that many of the children could not be identified, and they had to use DNA and other avenues to identify children. So that's still ongoing. I'll get a briefing today at 10:30 there in Uvalde with all the latest details of it, along with Governor Abbott and Senator Cornyn. But imagine you're a parent and you can't even identify your child. So this is what our community is dealing with. I am a parent. I'm a father of 6, and it hit me pretty hard yesterday. And you know, as I was making my way, my district's very large. As I was making my way from El Paso to the other side of the district, driving overnight, it really let me process things. And not only do we have to think about the victims, we also have to think about the survivors. You know, you mentioned, you know, the BORTAC, there were Border Patrol agents. These were the folks that neutralized this shooter and ultimately saved lives. The stories I've heard where there were a couple of children that were hiding in a closet. If it wasn't for these agents, you know, who knows what would happen to those children.
I keep thinking about those children too, Congressman, the children that didn't survive and the ones that did. What they saw is something nobody should see, especially a little child. But
That's
you know,
right.
You have voted against 2 gun reform measures, including one that called for expanded background checks. Are you rethinking that position this morning in light of what has happened in your state?
I'm happy to debate. I'm happy to debate policy. Not today. I mean, today my community is hurting. You know, politicians like to divide us. Leaders unite us, and we need to be united right now as Americans, because what happened in Uvalde, Texas, can happen anywhere, and we have to be united in protecting our children against that. Right now, I've got families that can't identify their children. I've got folks that have to bury their children. I mean, these are the things that we're working with. I'm worried about the police officers that came out of that scene covered in blood, that they have seen so much that they've got to get pulled off of the front line. I'm worried about the community in itself. I'm happy to debate policy another time. But today, we should be united. We should talk about the survivors as well as those victims.
I hear you loud and clear, and I certainly don't want to debate this, and I too am thinking about the survivors and the victims, but this is the issue. This keeps happening, and we keep skirting around it, and we keep saying, somebody do something, and nobody does anything, and we keep hearing it's a Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms. And I keep thinking, when the Founding Fathers wrote that, they were talking about muskets. I do not think, if they were here today, that they were thinking that kids, would have these assault rifles. So if not now to debate it, if not debate, discuss it.
Right.
I just want to know, you're in a position, but with all due respect, you're in a position of power. You're in a position of power to change things.
Right.
And if we can't talk about it and we can't make changes, when can we talk about it? To me, this is a perfect day to talk about it.
Gayle, I grew up in Camp Wood, Texas, you know, very 30, 40 miles from Uvalde. This is my home. Uvalde isn't a dot on a map for me. It's not a political football for me. This is home. Yeah. These people I know, these are my community. I represent them. I love them. Right now, we need love. We need compassion. We need people to come together as we heal. You asked, what have we done? And I'll give you an example.
We need love, but we need change, Congressman. We need change.
We need Congress to come together.
We need Congress to come together. We need change.
Please
listen,
let me finish.
You've heard everybody say we don't need the love and the prayers and the support and the moment of silence. They're saying we're sick of that.
Prayers.
We don't need that now.
I'm a man of faith. My community is a man of faith.
I am too.
We welcome your prayers. Let me give you an example of what we did last year. So the county judge, who is a Democrat, the mayor, who is a Republican, and myself, we sat down over a year ago. And you know what we talked about? We talked about building a mental health clinic in Uvalde, Texas, something that does not exist. And what did we do? I used one of my community projects, and we allocated $2 million for this mental health clinic. It's a $20 million project. I'm focused on how do I come up with the other $18 million. If you are a parent watching today, I would say reach out to your school, find out what your school's policies are, find out what mental health facilities are in your area, not only for your own family, but for others. These are the things that brings us together, because when tragedy hits, it doesn't determine if you're a Republican or Democrat, voted, the color of your skin, who you pray to. This country, we need to come together, Gayle, together, not divide us. All of us need to come together and focus on things that are important to us.
Part of coming together, though, I think, is making change to keep the guns out of people that should not be walking around with. And I don't want to take your guns away from responsible gun owners. Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
But we've got to go. We've got to move past this conversation.
We all want school safety.
But
we all want school. As a parent, I'm going to take my congressman hat off. I'm a father first and foremost. I want my children to be safe everywhere they go. Guess what? Just like every other father and mother in America. These are the conversations that Congress and others should be having. These conversations, not the division. There's too much division in this country.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And we thank you, Tony Gonzales, for taking the time to spend time with us this morning.